Today, we must talk about um, idiots that come in pairs. All right, and I'm not talking about someone who sexually assaults fruit. I mean, and are dumb enough to think that's a good time. Although I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. We are talking about when on a show, sometimes one self-involved asshole isn't enough. Sometimes you need two. Like on like Breaking Points, for example, is a great example, right? If either one of those folks, if Crystal or Sagar, was on their own show by themselves, it'd be kind of a pitiful excuse for a show, because it'd be just yet another singular dickhead spouting nonsense on the internet just to be mean to an out group. And so it'd be kind of a waste of time. But they have a pretty set, and look at them teaming up and going back about, yeah, Cenk and Anna, for example. Honestly, it's Turks plural, even though the Young Turks is the name of the organization that sort of murdered Anna's people. But wait, I mean, bygones be bygones. I think that might even come up in our first clip of the night. But I must confess, this first clip up, I have watched portions of it because I couldn't avoid it. I couldn't get away from it. It was sort of everywhere. And it involves, well, here, let me see if I can click forward in it just to give you a picture. There you go. Quit it. There you go. There we go. Now, everyone looks drowsy in this shot. Okay, let me just bring it to you. Here you go. Why is everything always offset? Why do I always have to reset it? One of these days, by God. So if you don't know, that's Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan. I'm going with Piers Morgan. Pierce is spelled like Pierce Brosnan. Piers Morgan. Who is, by the way, wearing an 1111 brooch. One of the things you stick on the remembrance, which is fine, but I'm just pointing it out, what that is in particular, so people don't think, is it a anti-tomato disguise so people don't throw tomatoes at him? No, it's a memory thing. On the left, sorry, you're my right, your left. I'm trying. That's Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, who I've, full disclosure, I've been either on shows or panels with everybody but Pierce in this. The other two guys. A long time. Whatever. But Shmuley and I did I was on some show because he did stuff for like dating for Jewish couples as well as a rabbi. A lot of his stuff early was like relationship advice and stuff like that. But when serious gets serious, then he comes out with his serious stuff. And so obviously he's talking about, this is the thing, should there be a ceasefire, and back and forth. Okay, now, and Cenk is there, I think just to show that he has presidential qualities, to show that he, has the kind of temperament you would need as a stable human being in a clutch to convey a difficult point of view in as politically sensitive and diplomatic way as possible. I'm guessing that's the plan, because of the description, which is Israel-Hamas war, Piers Morgan versus Rabbi Shmuley and Cenk Uygur going head-to-head in fiery clash. Okay, now I don't know why it's Piers Morgan versus Rabbi Shmuley and Cenk Uygur is going head-to-head in a fiery clash. Was he off in the corner jerking off and he's just masturbating in his own face? I mean, that sounds like a throwback to early Young Turks, if people know his history of advocating for human-animal sex. Again, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but an animal can't give consent. So I guess, yeah. That's all. Yes, it's a fiery clash, which for those that don't speak news set, fiery clash means yelling, I presume. And no, Cenk can't run for president. He wasn't born here. He's not going to be able to stand a challenge that allows, he's not going to change the fucking Constitution between now and then. So any money he raises is perpetrating a fraud on people. And honest to God, he better put something in his disclaimer that I am operating under the premise that I will be able to fight this, and I understand that technically speaking, under the Constitution, I don't have the right to run, but I am running on the possibility that we will beat this or whatever. If and when I don't, I will either refund your money if you ask for it, or I will take any leftover money that I didn't use campaigning, and I will pay it out to a charity. Something like that. Either way, it's a fucking scam. So, that's stated. This is, before we get into this, let me start by giving you a preface of what we're actually going to be dealing with in this sketch, in this clip, because sometimes people, when a serious topic is discussed, feel the need to engage with the topics as they're being brought up, no matter how unserious, insipid, or fucking stupid the people involved in the conversation is, and you get baited into sort of tacitly believing that the people that are actually talking about it are A, doing it in good faith, or have a fucking point that you couldn't find someplace else without all the blather, right? So let's keep in mind, we're really looking at this as three men in air-conditioned settings zooming each other. That's what's really happening. Is anything said amongst these three men going to change anything on the ground in fucking North Gaza right now? Fuck no. It will have zero impact, as will any of our arguments with their said points. Now, that said, I know I will be dragged into it accidentally, as many of us are, but I'm reminding myself as much as I'm reminding you that this is really about, it's less an argument about Israel-Hamas and the war and whether there should be a ceasefire or whether there should be a truce, or if fucking Kyle Kalinske knows the fucking difference, which apparently he doesn't. Holy shit. But about like three self-important assholes jockeying to elbow each other out of the way. So let's see what their take is, and let's dive in, shall we? I'm sure it'll be illuminating.
Welcome back. The G7, including the UK and US, is calling for humanitarian pauses in Gaza. Many other countries in the Middle East are demanding a full ceasefire. Israel has ruled out a ceasefire, while Hamas holds around 240 hostages who were kidnapped during the deadly terror attacks on October the 7th. It says there's already tactical pauses in its daily assaults on the Gaza Strip, where more than 10,500 people reportedly now being killed in Gaza, including over 4,000 children, according to the Hamas-run health ministry.
Yeah, he kind of breezes past that. I was about to say, according to who? According to the Hamas-run health ministry. I have been, since this morning, I've been tearing up the internet trying to find some way to stabilize the number that they're saying, because it's fucking enormous. Considering, you know, how long it takes to verify deaths in Ukraine, which is a much easier fight to geolocate, and there are more people involved on both sides. There's an actual tactical army on both sides. Both announce who's been injured, who's been killed. You can tell by medical supplies over time. But they're just popping this fucking number up overnight. It's enormous. It's so big. There's a certain point where they produced a list of the names, but there's no like birth records to go along with it. So it's just a giant list. And again, we talked about it a little bit this morning, but when they're stacking bodies outside this hospital, they're all adult males of fighting age. They're not, you know, for all the talk of 4,000 children and blah, 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 the vast majority, like I'm only seeing that. There are definitely singular shots of children and women, especially early on in this, right? But I mean, just a distinction.
On Sunday, the Pope made...
See, look, I get suckered into actually talking about this like this asshole's serious.
An urgent plea to stop the conflict, saying, I pray to you to stop in the name of God, cease the fire. So with so much bloodshed, is it...
Sorry, the leader of a sect of Christians is telling the Jews and the Muslims to stop fighting? Weird.
Time for a ceasefire. Joining me now to discuss this, America's rabbi and best-selling...
America's rabbi and a vision in beige background. And by the way, I gotta say, Shmuley looking pretty fucking severe these days.
Author, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, and welcome back to Young Turks creator and Democratic presidential challenger.
and man who just woke up because of the time change.
Cenk Uygur. Well, welcome to both.
Uygur. What is he, a fucking barbarian in an old Marvel comic? Uygur the blatherer.
Of you. Cenk, let me start with you. Many people are calling for a ceasefire. Queen Rania of Jordan, Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, what's the difference? Angelina Jolie, the Queen of Jordan.
Arab leaders and so on.
And geez, Arab leaders. Huh.
I presume.
I think, quite frankly, the only non-aligned with the Hamas specifically, the only non-aligned party with Hamas in the people he named was Angelina Jolie, and I think she's just trying to mean well. It's a weird thing to bring up, but I'm glad she did. It's nice to know that he's reading her letter.
You would agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they've murdered enough Palestinian civilians.
Yikes! Shots fired, no pun intended. Right out of they've just murdered enough civilians. Do you think, is it because you don't think Hamas murdered enough civilians, or?
Civilians. And even Netanyahu in an interview with ABC News said, now that we're on the ground, we're finally pressuring Hamas on hostages. Oh, so the 7,000 bombs you dropped were totally useless and collective punishment, and your attempt to murder civilians on purpose as some sort of sick vengeance. So,
well, again, showing that presidential diplomatic strain and that caring, thoughtful, balanced view of the circumstance.
please stop the murders, ceasefire right now.
And was there a reason why you weren't saying that midday on October 7th? Just didn't come up, right? You were at lunch. There was a lot going on. You had Instagram posts to do.
Rabbi Shmuley, your response?
Cenk is polling in the Democratic presidential primaries at 0%, nothing.
Ouch! Right on. And he throws the white power symbol right in his face. I'm kidding. It's funny, the irony of this. I think we can kind of wipe out the clamation by the Proud Boys of the OK symbol as white power. And I don't know if it's a Middle Eastern thing that means zero. But fuck, man. Way to step on his oxygen hose right out of the gate.
He has a greater likelihood of being elected to new.
It's like, Cenk, that's not true. It's, in all fairness, it's like 0.003. Right? It's below zero. He's polling in the negative. More people would vote for him to run as a Republican.
King of France. And don't interrupt me, please. And the reason is that the American people are decent. They understand that Cenk's anti-Semitism, which he has voiced on your show repeatedly, calling Jews genocide dares. And this is the eve of Kristallnacht, the 85th anniversary of the start of the Holocaust.
Well, this is going very well. Adult human beings, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to. And you do realize there's like a rather serious issue happening. And this is, I'm just going to say this is going to burn down into some sort of like dick-wagging contest.
He would deny the Jewish people the only dignity left to us, that we were victims of genocide, and he would say that we are the Nazis, we are the Gestapo, for simply wanting to defend ourselves against the brutality and the savagery.
I didn't say that. I didn't say any of that. I inferred it by saying you're just murdering children from space because you just intended to destroy the people and genocide them out of it. All right, so Nazis I just didn't use the actual word.
Of Hamas. Cenk, you'll have your turn. Just show some decency. If you're not going to show it to my people, show it to me and show it to the viewers of the show.
Stop.
But
and by the way, this is where I would go. Shmuley Boteach, even when he could be on the right side of an issue, manages to make an asshole out of himself. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You have a very serious issue and two absolute fuckheads discussing it. That's more the story here than anything else. Because again, I mean, for all the impact this will have on the actual conflict in Gaza and the whether or not there'll ultimately be a two-state solution, this discussion between these three men, they might as well just all have ping pong ball paddles and just be waving them around like this, like that. It would have the exact same amount of impact. And so the fact that if you're on Cenk's side of this, or you're on Shmuley's side of this, or you even think they have a side, or if they're just playing to their crowd, it doesn't matter, because both of them managed to be fucking dicks in the process.
Who is
Lying.
surprised
Everything
that a
you said
man
was a lie.
who
Everything you said was a lie.
is surprised that a man the name of whose podcast is Young Turks, who perpetrated the Armenian genocide. The Young Turks is like calling your podcast the Young Nazis, the Young Gestapo. They killed.
Nah, it's more like just the brown shirts. I mean, they didn't. You have to say young Nazis. It sounds like a Bowie song or some shit. No, it's just brown shirts. That's what it means.
1.5 to 2 million Armenians between 1915 and 19.
Yeah, here's a good idea. A little note. Anybody who's working on Cenk's campaign, when the other guy on screen is describing how many people were killed in the Armenian genocide, don't shake your head no. It just hold still.
1918. The Armenian community has begged Cenk to change the name of his show. For the first half of his life, he was a complete Armenian genocide denier. Then he changed. Now he is a.
See what I mean? See what I mean? Just Cenk your booty. Thanks, Tim Farrell.
Holocaust denier, because he is saying that the Jews are engaged in a genocide of the Palestinians.
Stop this liar?
Which
Can you please stop this liar? Right, it's just going full fucking. He's just pulling the Trump ripcord right out of the gate. TYT, how must be bored? Moms, this isn't TYT. Both these assholes are on Piers Morgan's show. This is like Sky News or some shit.
Nation, how can there be 1.8 million Muslim Arab citizens?
Rabbi Shmuley,
okay.
I'm going to go to Jake.
Right. He's making that standard point about the idea that the population of Gaza has grown. So if there's a genocide going on, or they've been perpetrating a genocide for all this time, that's where he's going.
You said some.
Yeah, we need Bernie out here. All right, everyone to a neutral corner. Everyone go back. Oh, bye.
Very strong things about Cenk. You can now respond, Cenk.
Yeah, you should never have this guy on air. Everything
Cancel culture. Ouch.
he said is a lie. I don't deny the Holocaust. That's insanity.
He meant the Armenian genocide. The Holocaust of the Armenians is the point. He was tying that to the Young Turks being the name of the... Try to pay attention. I don't want to have to farm fucking Shmuley's goddamn talking points.
And in terms of the Armenian genocide, there is a powerful analogy there. Why was it a genocide? And yes, it was a genocide. Why?
Oh, yeah? Now you say it? After making Anna sweat it out for like 2 decades?
Because they moved and displaced so many people and killed civilians on the way. What is Israel doing?
Yeah, the moving and displacing part is ethnic cleansing. Genocide is wiping them out with the intention of wiping them out. The Young Turks intended to wipe everybody out. The overall idea from Azerbaijan, I guess, was to move them out of the country. Distinction without a difference?
Moving and displacing millions of people and killing innocent civilians. It is the exact definition of a genocide.
Yeah, except for the record, right before this happened, the Armenians didn't lunge across a border that was there and chop up a bunch of babies and throw them in the oven and film it and rape and slaughter women, cut their breasts off and hold up drag a half-naked dead woman through the streets while people spit on her and that. It's just little distinctions between how shit popped off.
So I think the Jewish people are an amazing people, and they're...
I know several of them. I know... Can I count you, Shmuley, or is that... All right. I know at least...
Their culture is beautiful.
It's fabulous. Which parts, Cenk? Run us through your favorite bits. What do you mean their culture? The comedy of Lenny Bruce? Lord almighty, their culture is beautiful.
And I don't tolerate any anti-Semitism, but I think...
Yeah, as long as certain buzzwords that can be called out as anti-Semitism, you can kind of generalize the blood libel if you want to, but don't hit any of those big, hard words.
I think that the occupation is decaying the moral core of Israel. How
Yeah, but they don't. They haven't been occupied. Never mind. Look at me, fucking dragged into the.
How
fucking
long
conversation.
are you going to oppress these people?
But Cenk,
and I know this guy, all he wants to do is an ad hominem attack. He's a liar. And you could tell exactly what kind of indecent human being he is. But the main reason he's doing it
Isn't that an ad hominem attack? But okay.
is to avoid the topic. When are you going to stop murdering Palestinians and cheerleading it?
okay.
Well, I don't know. Does Cenk know that this guy isn't actually in charge of anything? He does know that, like, Shmuley's an American rabbi who lives here, who's just kind of in line with the standard line that Israel can defend itself. He doesn't actually work for the Israeli MOD.
You're talking about genocide. You're the one right now doing the genocide.
Oh yes. You know what? The IDF, step out of the way. Shmuley Rambo is rolling in.
May I respond?
Yes.
Go ahead,
May I
more
respond?
lies. Go ahead.
You know,
See what I mean? Just assholes.
I've spent my life debating people. Whenever someone starts using personal names and screaming like a lunatic, they're losing the debate. Let me remain
You're
factual.
the one
First
who
of all,
made up things.
The Palestinians were offered a state in 1936 in the Peel Commission. They rejected it. They were offered a state in 1947, the UN Partition Plan. They rejected it. They were offered a state in 1967 after Israel conquered.
That's not fair. Look at it. Look, you're making Cenk mad. Now he's got to deal with dates.
Judea and Samaria and the West Bank, they rejected it. They were offered a state in 2000, Yasser Arafat, Ehud Barak, they rejected it. They were offered a state with Ehud Olmert, 2008, they rejected it. Israel unilaterally withdrew from Gaza in 2005, and they did not create a state. In fact, where were you, Cenk, when you say that you care about Palestinian children, when Hamas stole the highest rate of per capita international foreign aid, larger than the Marshall Plan, from Palestinian children, did not build schools for them, did not build hospitals, took all the money to buy bombs and to build a network of tunnels, which is larger than the New York subway system. Where were you then? Did you only
He was on the New York subway system. I'm pretty sure.
come up now? In fact,
Right. No, you're fat. No, you're fat. You're fatter than fat. Well, you're as fat can be. Well, fatty, fat. That's what this is. Yes.
when Bashar al-Assad killed 600,000 children, Arab children, when he gassed them with mustard gas, my organization took out full
Was it mustard gas? Wasn't it chlorine gas? It was chlorine gas, wasn't it?
page New York Times ads to protect them from sarin gas. Where were you then?
It wasn't sarin either. I don't think it was sarin. Wasn't it the idea was chlorine gas?
You don't care about Arab children. You are a Jew.
I don't know. Eventually, if he gets through all the gases, he'll eventually get there or whatever. I'm just saying. All right. It's fluoride? It was probably fluoride.
Hater, defined as someone
It wasn't phosphorus. It was sarin in Syria. I think it was chlorine gas. I think that's the argument.
who only wants
Shut
to lie
up.
and say that the Jews
You
are
bigot.
genocidaires.
You
And don't try to
racist.
cancel me and say that I
You racist! It sounds a little bit like Trump yelling at the wall about like Fonnie Willis. You racist! A bow, bow, bow!
shouldn't be on. You're not a producer of this show. Because you are ignorant of the facts and ignorant of the history does not mean that you can cancel my voice. Thank
Cenk,
you
your
very
response.
Okay, so first of all,
No, hey, anybody notice that they have turned down Cenk's mic while Shmuley is talking because he keeps like raising his voice to try and cut him off? So they literally are potting him down until it's his turn to talk. Uh-huh.
this guy is a full-blown bigot. He's
Oh, God. That's the worst. The worst kind of rabbi bigots. They're the worst.
one of the most racist people I have ever seen, does not
Nah, it's not. Come on. Come on. You were around when Strom Thurmond was in the Senate. Get the fuck out of here.
value Palestinian lives at all. And everything he said about me is 100% untrue.
Well, the Young Turks is named after the brown shirts of the Armenian genocide. I mean, that's kind of That's a thing. That's not even you did pick that name from that thing. I mean, I'm not going to get into whether or not you're, a blathering dipshit or whether you, and maybe Shmuley doesn't know this. Cenk always talks like this. So maybe it's because he's always losing the argument. Perhaps that's what it is. All right.
I was vicious in my criticism of Bashar al-Assad.
Were you, though?
I've criticized Hamas over and over again, and I think what they did in the attack against Israel was reprehensible. But for God's sake, how long are you going to occupy these people?
I see. So that's the fallback. Is the what? I mean, it's terrible what they did, but can you blame them? They're occupied. Well, they're technically not. They haven't been. I don't think Israel's been inside Gaza since, according to him, it's 2005. I think it might be 2015 is when they officially moved out. But either way, there's a 5 in there somewhere.
For me, the idea of Israelis and Palestinians or Muslims or Jews being different is absurd. Those are just stupid labels that we put on people.
No, we don't. They are labels that they care very deeply about themselves. That motherfucker, this is part of Cenk's like America sucks gene that he has, or some fucking switch in his head, that somehow every descriptive or definitive in the world is the product of like American fucking culture. We didn't name the fucking Palestinians and make Arab Muslims believe a certain tract of the generalized we're all humans, can't we kumbaya, has no meaning here because both parties self-identify in this conflict. This is not a matter of a drawn map between I'm Lebanese versus Egyptian right now. Good Lord.
They're all human beings.
Well, 85%, 87%. I mean, I think they have some goats that they give equal rights to. Equal with the men, obviously higher than the women, but I'm kidding. Relax. This is just stupid.
I value the Israeli life just as much as I value the Palestinian life.
Do you, though?
We're all human. Stop using these nonsense labels.
Cenk, let me ask.
He's not using a nonsense label, fuckwad. He's Jewish. He's a fucking rabbi. He's not labeling Jew and non-Jew. This isn't a war on the goyim, dum-dum.
Kill each other.
Cenk,
and all this guy wants to do is more murder of Palestinians.
Cenk,
well, then I don't know why he's not calling Netanyahu and saying, what's all this humanitarian pause, humanitarian corridor, leaving the lights on? Why are you listening to Joe Biden? If that's all they want, then why isn't it just a carpet bomb, period? Why are they even warning people? I'm serious. If allegedly all Shmuley wants is murder, why the fuck doesn't he just call up Netanyahu, who I'm sure he's spoken to at some point? He's very, very well-known rabbi in the United States, and go, hey, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody's paying attention. They're going to hate us. Damned if we do, damned if we don't. So, stop with the leaflets and the phone calls, and let's just nuke the place. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Let me ask
when are you going to let them go?
Let my Palestinians go. When are you going to let them go? I don't know, when the Egyptians take them in? What? Loud noises. They don't want to go, dummy. The problem is you got half the people there who want to stay where they are, so they don't want to go. Well, let's do it in thirds. I don't know if it's we'll just for broad strokes for each of these dipshits. You got a third of the Palestinians that would like to live in Lebanon or Egypt or something because tribally that's where their people came from. They just kind of fell on one side of a border and they're like, what the fuck happened here? Your grandmother's from Egypt. Let's fucking go there. But Egypt won't let them, right? Because they think they're all Hamas and they don't want them in their country causing shit and fucking with the tourist industry or surrounding the fucking pyramid and ruining all the tourism. And then you got a third of them who want to stay where they are because they view that area as their home. And you got a third who views the entirety of Israel as their home and wants to kill all the Jews and wipe them out and move into their houses and that kind of shit. And that would be the so I'm just saying they don't all want to go.
Cenk, let me
Also, I'd like to remind everybody, just because certain words are used to lighten a subject does not mean the subject is taken lightly. My issue with these dipshits has a lot to do with them not and how they're speaking about this, not the actual thing itself. Also, it will be fun to. I'm worried that we're going to have a scanners moment with Cenk, though.
I'll ask you a question. You mentioned genocide there. What Hamas is actually in its charter dedicated to doing is the purest personification
Oh, this one again. Here you go.
of genocide. Well, it is. They want to see the eradication of Israel, and they proved on October the 7th they will kill as many Jews as they can possibly get their hands on. So that is pure genocide. What Israel is doing in return, I don't think meets the category of genocide. Right, because they don't want to get rid of every Palestinian. They don't want to kill every Palestinian.
No,
they want to kill every Hamas terrorist. Now,
that's not the standard. Genocide is not the desire to or the effort to eradicate an entire people based on their identity, which is kind of the exact. Actually, that's the actual definition of it. Exactly. That's exactly.
There are legitimate question marks about how they're going about this and about the civilian casualties. But there is a moral distinction between what Hamas is dedicated to do.
No, there isn't. Collateral death and intentional hacking people to pieces are exactly the same. And so Cenk, when he's president, will pass a law that any drunk driver that accidentally strikes someone will be charged with first-degree murder and get the death penalty, because everything, whether you mean it to or not, if it results in the death of another human being, it's depraved indifference to mixing up somebody's medication. It's the same thing. Everybody gets the death penalty. Let's just start from scratch.
Doing, and what Israel is dedicated to doing, isn't there?
No. First of all, Hamas is a bunch of idiots. They should take that stuff out of their charter.
They got voted in. They are the representative government. They're a bunch of idiots. They should take that stuff out of their charter.
All it does is hurt the Palestinian cause.
I agree.
There's no call for it. It's dumb. And
it's not dumb. It's what they want. Motherfucker, they didn't just, they weren't spitballing in front of a fucking whiteboard when they added that. You think they're just like, throw in something about wiping them all out and destroying everybody. You think that'll work for everybody? Yeah, then we'll get a snack and we'll start on page 2. The fuck out of here. It's just dumb. I don't even know why they do that. Bro, it's like, bro, you don't even put something like that. You do it, but you don't say it.
It's immoral. But Hamas claims that they would like to do these things, and from time to time they do these attacks that are
from time to time. I mean,
are horrible and they should never do.
But
Israel actually kills Palestinians.
Actually? What the shit? So the 1,400 who died, that's just made up? Is it AI? Actually, this motherfucker.
Actually occupies Palestine.
No, they don't actually occupy Palestine. They might have it surrounded. They might blockade it, but they're not occupying it. Occupying means you're in there. If you don't believe me, ask the fucking Russians in the Donbass.
Actually denies the Palestinians a state. So there's this.
No, they were offered a state. They just turned it down. They just don't like the deal, which is reasonable. But that takes diplomacy.
Absurd talk of like, oh, if Hamas was super powerful, they might deny Israel its existence. Except Israel does exist. And in the Palestinian state.
Right, but were they to develop any capability? You're basically making the argument that Israel should watch that nail and hammer it if it starts to come up at all.
Does not exist because Israel is blocking their state. So
not technically.
Stop using I'm not saying it to you, Piers, but this propaganda, hold on.
You know, Cenk, you and I are almost the same age, and I'm actually quite worried for how.
Yeah, I'm the same age as these guys too, and this is I'm worried for both of them, honestly. Should I send them a workout plan or maybe some dietary advice? Skincare? I don't know. I just want to help. Meanwhile, Piers Morgan is nodding off.
You get on TV. You got to protect your health. You're just...
Okay, again, this is Shmuley Boteach being a dickhead, being an asshole. this whole like faux worried about your blood pressure shit is a crap, childish schoolyard debate tactic. And again, this is like these two assholes playing ping pong with fucking horse turds. It's so weird.
Kind of losing it. Now, calm
Because
down.
I'm upset
Let's be
that
clear.
you keep advocating
when
for
you
the
keep
murder
on
of
saying,
civilians.
I'm just upset. I get all riled up when you advocate for the wholesale slaughter of people.
Jake, you have
Like
to
a
stop
terrorist.
yelling. You have to stop screaming. And you need to know the facts. The Palestinians were offered a state 7 times, and they rejected it 7 times. Bill Clinton told Yasser Arafat in 2000, you have made me a failure as president because Israel was giving you 97% of Judea and Samaria and the old city of Jerusalem. And Ehud Barak even offered the Temple Mount, the holiest site in Judaism, and the Palestinians rejected it. You simply don't know the history. Read a book. In fact, read a Wikipedia article before you get on TV. Number 2, you made a very
Just, you know what, I don't know what about you guys, but I think Cenk's head shaking back and forth is very effective. I think it really, really, it kind of diffuses all of Shmuley's argument. And I also think that Shmuley should point more because it has a way of like ingratiating people into what he's saying. You know what I mean? Where, if you really want to get someone on your side, that's a really good gesture. Just assholes.
good point before, Piers, that Winston Churchill is the greatest British statesman and hero of the 20th century. Let's remember, when Churchill was faced with a genocidal threat of the Nazis, you know what he did, which Israel would never consider doing? He laid waste to 70% of Dresden.
Yeah, but there's no Hamas in Dresden, really. Well, there's a couple, but they're probably just vacationing. Maybe they're just Palestinians. I don't even know if they're Hamas or whatever. I don't know if maybe they still got their union card, but I don't think they paid their dues. I don't think they're up on their dues for that. So
Essen, Cologne, Berlin.
Well, I mean, Berlin, sure.
He eviscerated Germany and turned it into a parking lot, murdering about 6 million German civilians. Israel has never even considered doing 1,000th of that.
Some people in Israel might have, but, angry heads, as it were.
And FDR acquiesced to it, and he's considered our greatest president of the 20th century. And then Harry Truman dropped 2 atomic bombs on Nagasaki, Hiroshima.
Thanks for clarifying, because they actually dropped during that whole period. Both Russia and America dropped a shit ton of nuclear weapons. Those were the only 2 we didn't drop on ourselves.
And Israel has nuclear weapons, has never considered doing that. Israel opened up
they've
a
actually,
humanitarian
okay, let me come
corridor
at you,
begging
Rabbi,
the government. So I have one question.
I want to come back to you on 2 points.
Simple question. Cenk,
I want to ask you a question, Rabbi.
Call Winston Churchill a war criminal on this show today? Will you call Churchill a war criminal?
All right, Cenk, answer that question.
Okay, so
Cenk's, Piers, Cenk's on this side of you. So when you do, I have the same problem sometimes, because you get, I don't know what monitor you're looking at. That might be flipped or something. I don't know if he's using TikTok to join the show and it's kind of flipped, but yeah.
Rabbi Shmuley, if you're actually a rabbi.
Oh, Jesus. All right, there we go. Let's just question the depth of the religious beliefs. Anyways, if you're actually a rabbi, just for the record, he's actually a rabbi. I think he's an asshole. And like I said, I've met him. We've talked about this. I think I even called him an asshole on that show.
What the standards of history have changed.
You could tell he was waiting for like of course I'm a rabbi, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, he was like, all right.
Changed. So the Mongols went into Baghdad and killed every man, woman, and child, killed 800,000 people, the largest city in the world. Now, we don't live by those standards anymore. And
some people do. I think that's the argument against Hamas in this particular case. Look at what the Russians are doing. I think the only thing different between them and the Mongols in some ways, I think the Mongols lost fewer people when they lost.
Right now, if a modern British prime minister or American president advocated for dropping a nuclear bomb in Japan or killing 70% of the people that live in Dresden, you're damn right I'd call him a war criminal.
Yeah, because you would need the pretext that you'd have to be in a World War II with a giant Nazi war machine that was trying to take over the world, and they were aligned with the Japanese. And the Japanese are fucking, they're our allies now. They're like, yeah, okay, way to jump on that moral diving board, asshat. Gee, let's take a quick poll, audience. Who among you would let it slide if we just rando nuked Germany, Dresden in particular, or just decided to hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki for the fuck of it again?
It's a different situation today than it was in the past.
Yes, there was a war going on between us and those people. And right now, there's a war going on between Israel and those people. Therefore, the parallels are... Well, listen to me. I'm arguing with these dickheads again. See how stupid it is? Do you see what I have to deal with? Do you see what? Did you just hear that shit? This asshole asked him to declare Winston Churchill a fucking war criminal on the air. Ba-boom. And then he starts off with, if you're a real rabbi, and then goes into, it was different when we were at war. Like, hey, fuck it. They are at war. That's the point. If you would have been okay with it then, why aren't you okay with them doing it now? If that was, oh God.
And so what you're saying is, hey, we only murdered 10,000 civilians and wantonly and recklessly, and we only did a partial genocide, so we're not as guilty.
You can't do a partial genocide. That's the point. Is it just killing a bunch of people in the bombing? Otherwise, there was a genocide of the Germans. Because what was it? Fucking 1-to-1, 6 million to 6 million. 6 million Jews died. 6 million Germans died. A lot of overlap, Jews to Germans, but we'll put that aside for the math. This is just fucking stupid.
No, I'm not buying it.
No.
Yes, John Depp. It was the you had to be there history lesson from Cenk Uygur.
At all.
Rabbi Shmuley, I want to ask you a question.
This is a good part, though. This is, I think this, we need a situation when something is, difficult to discuss, that that people can pause, reflect even, ruminate, if you will, on their own thoughts about what the other person said, and then start blathering like this.
Okay, hang on, Rabbi, I want to ask you a question, which is the unique scenario in Gaza is that nearly half of the civilian population are children. They have nothing to do with this. They're not politicians. They're not in Hamas. They're not terrorists. They're not military. They're kids. And they are in their thousands being killed here. And I ask you, really, is there any limit, you as a rabbi, of the number of children who need to be killed to get rid of Hamas here? Or is there no limit?
Of course there's a limit. We mourn the death of every Arab, Muslim, Palestinian child as if a Jewish child died. They are absolutely...
Look at this. I don't think so. Wait a second. Do-over. Excuse me. No, that is not a base hit. That hit a branch. No fair.
Equal before God. That's what...
Look at this shit. What the fuck? This guy is running for president.
Why Israel withdrew completely and utterly in 2005, something that Cenk will not even acknowledge. There isn't one Israeli soldier, there wasn't until this new invasion, because of the attack on Sderot, I went to those places, Piers, I was there 2 weeks ago. I saw the blood caked on the walls, congealed to 3 or 4 inches. I saw the knives that were used to murder entire families. We saw the place where Thai, not Jewish, Thai farm workers who were growing pumpkins were beheaded. We saw the body of Shani Luke, and I spoke to her mother, Ricarda, who was...
Oh, yeah, Shani Luke's the girl who was paraded through town. Fuck me.
Taken naked. These are religious men in Hamas. Taken naked in her underwear and her bra, her dead body, these necrophilia savages. We saw all that. How many Palestinian children need to die? God forbid, not one. All Hamas needs to do is let the civilian population go south. Stop using them as human shields. Hamas wants these Palestinian children to die.
I gotta say, like the the appeal to emotion aspect of talking about the dead on either side is a big hammer everybody tries to use in this conversation, because they, the premise when you do that is that the other side is not taking the deaths seriously on your side enough, and I would argue that there's a lot more like flippancy from Cenk than Shmuley in this situation, because he's at least doing the, God forbid, not one Palestinian child, that idea. Whereas Cenk is like, whatever, like he's really toddlering it. It's fucking weird. But this is a standard debate tactic around this kind of stuff.
Die. Every Palestinian child to Hamas is a bulletproof
Okay,
vest.
but you said
they exist for no other reason than to humiliate Israel.
Okay.
Let them go south and be safe.
Okay.
But Hamas wants them.
But Rabbi Shmuley,
it's Hamas's fault. It's Hamas's fault. It's Hamas's fault.
Rabbi Shmuley, you did say there is a limit. What is that limit?
Piers, it's hard.
Right. Yeah. Give me a number. What? How many kids? It's 4,000 now, according to Hamas. So 5. Well, you say. Tell you what. You say 8,000. I'll say 6,000. We'll settle around 7,000. You can keep the gourd.
To put a number on how many people Hamas is prepared to allow to die in order to destroy the state of Israel. Remember, Hamas's motto is from the sea.
From the river to the sea.
From sea to sea, Israel will be, Palestine will be free. It's the annihilation of every Jew. Iran calls for it openly. A second Holocaust. This is the eve of Kristallnacht. I don't want to put a
So rough when your earpiece is falling out at the same time. You get kind of wound up and sweaty. You got to loop it over the top of your ear, like, because Cenk does it every day, so he knows. You got to loop it up over the top so that it doesn't, because I get this one. Everybody's by the way, always pick which ear you're gonna use when you go on a show like this, because one of your ear holes is bigger than the other if you're built right, and you always know that. I'm just saying the standard size will fit one of them. Know that. Anyway.
Number on how many Palestinian children. I want a ceasefire right now. Hamas must surrender unconditionally, just like FDR and just like Churchill demanded of the Nazis. Unconditional surrender, release the hostages. We get a ceasefire right now. Cenk, let me ask you to call for a ceasefire by having Hamas, who you think actually cares about the Palestinian population, announce their surrender. Call for their surrender right now. They launched this attack unprovoked against Israel. They slaughtered 1,400 people. They are holding little babies whose diapers need to be changed as hostages. Call for them to surrender unconditionally.
All right.
Yeah, Shmuley, I get that you're having earpiece problems, but I have news for you. Hamas is not listening to Cenk Uygur. No one is. No one is listening to any of this. We are all simply marveling at 3 adult men filleting themselves on television.
Cenk, final word to you.
Can we?
Okay, so look, all this is nonsense.
All this is nonsense. A ceasefire, hostages, river to the sea, Hamas. That's crazy talk. Excuse me. Can he keep talking and I'll just make faces?
First of all, Israel did not withdraw. They control the borders of Gaza 100%. And as you can tell now, they cut off.
Yeah, that's the withdrawing part. They're not in. That's why it's a difference between occupying and enforcing their own border of it. Just saying, post Alamo, the Spanish and the Mexicans, or what did you say? They're split occupying the Mexica territories, or is that what we're gonna?
Off the water and power anytime they want.
Yeah, there's still power in the tunnels, though, and water.
The Jewish people have been oppressed throughout history. My heart goes out to the Jewish people for all the pain and the suffering that they have endured through all.
Except October 7th, I guess.
All of these years. But now Israel, unfortunately, is not the oppressed. It is the oppressor.
Right. And we live in a binary universe. You're either one or the other. I think, thank God, we don't have any gray areas in life, or that these issues aren't complex. It's like in Cenk's head, there's a giant cartoon electrical switch, like in a theater cartoon in 1945, or just shunk bad guys, shunk good guys. This is how
Look
it works.
at that.
By the way, it's always in the bad guy position. Just saying.
I'm dropping 7,000 bombs on grandmothers and children.
Yeah, but that kind of targeting. How are you gonna? I mean, granted, the grandmothers are slow moving, but all of them are small. So I mean, if they're able to hit 7,000, I'm fucking around. This is nonsense.
There's an American nurse that explained on CNN yesterday about how she sees little kids with burns all across their bodies. So Hamas is terrible. Yes, I can call for their surrender. That's easy. I don't like Hamas. I think Hamas is Muslim fundamentalist. But it's an impossible standard, and you know they're not going to meet that standard.
So Israel should just put up with Hamas being there then. They're not going to do it. So just lay back and take it. This is the God wanted you to have a baby with this man who waited in an alleyway for you.
And because you want to keep killing those civilians to show them how mighty you are and what a
That's very weird.
great oppressor you are. I'm sick of it. And it's
What a great oppressor you are. Again, can I remind everyone that we're not actually talking about the details of the Israel-Hamas conflict or the complexity of it. We're looking at how both of these people are addressing this issue. And listen to what what Cenk's fucking fallback is for whatever you think of it. And again, Shmuley's an asshole, but listen to his characterization of a rabbi who's advocating for Israel's right to defend itself and for Palestinian statehood. That's ultimately what it is. Watch this.
to show them how mighty you are and what a great oppressor you are. I'm sick of it.
Yeah. By the way, it would be one thing if this is how Cenk just talked about this conflict, like he had a particular bone to pick, and it just rested on his last nerve, and that's how he talked. This fuckhead talks about Democrats who just want a public option instead of Medicare for all because they think they can get it passed. It's the same language. Like, it's a fucking switch, man. It's every time.
And it's not only ruining
That is
the
such
Palestinians
Jew
and
hatred. I
causing
cannot
their
believe
deaths.
that
See what I mean? That is such Jew hatred. It's a little on the nose there, Shmuley. Again, this is what happens when you have an important issue and the only people discussing it this is a big show, are just absolute dickheads.
you are
But
calling
it is
Jews
ruining,
bloodthirsty.
it is calling,
This
it is
pure,
causing the moral
unadulterated
decay of Israel.
blood libel. This is a blood libel
Nonsense.
against the Jewish people. You
Stop
may as well just
hiding.
say that we drink
No,
the blood
it's not working
of Christian
anymore.
This is good. This is working. I feel like now we're really getting somewhere. Now we're getting to a point where you can, this is what I would call the NPR portion of the show, where tempers have settled and everyone is gathering their thoughts and trying to put on the table their list of possible concessions and ideas going forward.
children in
It's
our
not
matzahs.
working.
Cenk,
Okay.
you are guilty
On second thought, I might be wrong about that. It might just be two assholes yelling at each other.
of a blood libel on the eve of Kristallnacht. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm going to
See what I mean? See what I mean? Just yeah. Like this. Can you know what a fucking asshole? He threw out blood libel, and then his response was yeah. The lack of seriousness across the board, and Piers Morgan sitting in there in the middle like a fucking tennis net that on a court no one uses.
I'm going to call.
It is a
Look,
blood
look,
libel.
last
Change
thing,
the name
last
of your
thing.
show away from young
Last
Turks who are
thing,
genociders who
I'm
killed
gonna-
1 million Armenians.
I'm going to
Change
try
the
and
name
wrestle
and
things
be-
back to the host here and call a ceasefire for now. It's been
Oh no, he didn't. Really? That's your little quippy line there, Pierce? In this fucking discussion, I'll call a little ceasefire there. Jesus Christ, these assholes. Oh my God. And this is not the only trio or pairing of dipshits that we have tonight. Yeah.
been a fascinating debate, very passionate.
No, it really hasn't. I gotta say, it's been a lot of. It's like a ping pong match where both players are on fire and they're hitting a water balloon back and forth that will never break.
On both sides. I get that. I appreciate you both agreeing to debate each other. I think that's important in this situation. And thank
Why? Why? Why are these two people valuable voices about any of this shit? What the fuck is wrong with your booker? It's not a debate. It's like it's schoolyard name calling on about a very serious issue.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Chris. God bless
appreciate it. This guy's ruining. There's tremendous anti-Semitism in the world. By crying wolf, he's actually.
Did Pierce just leave? That's great. I would like to call a bit of a ceasefire. Fuck off, really. I'm just leaving. I can't. Are they still talking? I don't. All right. I'm sorry. I'd love to stick around and listen to this blather go on for hours, but I've got to go bug a teenage starlet's phone and embarrass her into an eating disorder. I'll be back after this. Fucking hell.
From
hurting
people
the
like
Jewish
you.
cause
From people like you. From
tremendously.
people like you.
It's good. This is good. It's getting better. Like this breakout. I mean, this is a sitcom waiting to happen.
Okay, you're
From
a
people like
bigot.
you.
Stop killing Palestinians, you bigot.
I'm sorry. That's just that. His anger about this is so fucking funny. It's like everybody he's talking to. This goes to the stroke of the pen fallacy that he seems stuck in. Can you feel the love tonight? Are we gonna get together? I believe the children are. You're a bigot. You're a bigot, fascist bigot. It's fucking hell. Yeah, the last time you checked, this rabbi isn't in Gaza with a TR-21 murdering. Yeah, that's exactly the point. Like, he's in America. I don't even know if Shmuley's East Coast and he's on West Coast. So technically, Shmuley is closer to Israel than Cenk is, but not in any meaningful way. Both of them have a long fucking flight and boot camp ahead of them if they're actually going to play a part in this. Holy shit.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much.
I'm not even going back on camera. I fucking hate it. I don't even like this anymore. I don't like either one of you. I'm going to go fire my booker. There's really nothing I can do about it. I hate this. Yeah. So that's the point I was trying to make is chat room. The problem currently is the state and the quality of the people on either side of a discussion. That's the Piers Morgan standard. Because I'm sure he feel like they gained, that was click heavy, got who they needed, right? Oh, like the all shit clicks, right? Oh, that's gonna be good. They're gonna yell at you, that kind of like what a waste of fucking time.